Bit of background for benefit of those not familiar with the Event Entry app. Several years ago, Dr. Jeff Brown kindly donated the system to CAMS. Jeff continued to support the system for some time. It became more popular. CAMS then engaged a third-party software development company who upgraded the platform and code. But then COVID hit, and a contactless feature was introduced via the mobile app. Mike Herlihy headed the development when Paul, who was my predecessor, left Motorsport Australia. And just before I started, around 18 months ago, the last major feature update was to include rally and off-road events. The biggest challenge has been the lack of integration with the membership system, which we've now started. User experience has been modernized, and with the help of some amazing UX designers, my aim was to make it as easy to enter an event as it is to purchase a pizza online, book an Uber, or even a holiday or flight. I think we've done that, and you'll see in the demo later. So why do we have an event entry app at all? So as part of our strategic plan, one of the goals I've been tasked with is to help increase participation in motorsport through technology. And like all organizations, commercial or not-for-profit, improvements are achieved through making informed decisions. Where sales are an indication of commercial success, participation is our indicator. The information we can gather, analyze, and share with clubs from systems like Event Entry will help clubs, promoters, and Motorsport Australia understand the national motorsport landscape, which can only help increase participation. I'll touch a little bit on the electronic acceptance. So many entrants are confused as to why they're still being asked to print, sign, and submit forms and regulations that they previously agreed to online. We're developing an electronic acceptance policy, which will build on the opportunities and lessons that COVID contactless regime forced us all to adopt. So before we all slip back into our 20th century ways, we should embrace the checkbox. I'll circulate the electronic acceptance policy to all and completion in the next few weeks. Okay, I get into the new look and demo. I want to explain the journey I've been on in the past 18 months at Motorsport Australia. I think I've been here long enough and I've stopped asking so many dumb questions. I'm still asking tons of questions, just less dumb questions. I've caught up with several organisers to find out how they're using the Event Entry app. And I've learned that different organisers use the app in different ways. What we have to accommodate is a plethora of different current practices. And we also need to keep this in mind when we're upgrading so as not to remove any of these features that some event organisers are using. The challenge I've got is to continue to make it a flexible solution without being too prescriptive. The example I'm thinking of is a few months ago, I discovered that some rally organisers were using the check-in process as a pre-validation feature leading up to events, unbeknownst to them that the check-in feature was actually intended to be used on the day of the event, like a roll call function. So luckily I found out about this beforehand, before we actually did any upgrades that would impact on the way that they're using it. So to avoid similar future incidents, we've streamlined the pre-validation and allocations processes by reducing the amount of pages, effectively reducing the flexibility, but keeping all the functionality that people have been familiar with. So the new look, basically entrants have been using the redesigned new look entry form for a few months now. The improvements have resulted in entrants being able to enter an event in less than 30 seconds. And we've got other ideas that can improve that even more. Event organisers will be pleased to know that their job will become easier also. We've integrated the organiser accounts with member accounts, removing the need to remember 2 lots of usernames and passwords and having everything in one place. The process of creating an event has been streamlined. Now basic events can be set up in less than a minute, but the biggest improvement has to be in the managing events. event organizers will no longer need to flick between pages, checking pre-validations and performing allocations. This is now all on one page with easily identifiable icons to important tasks. Many organizers have asked for a payment function to be improved. The biggest challenge here was to ensure that we still allow entrants to save their entry and not have to re-enter if they didn't have a payment method. So a balance had to be struck that with organizers being frustrated with entrants taking up spaces or garages that they may never pay for and eventually withdraw. Finally, the long-awaited online event permit application will be available via the member portal in the coming weeks. This will remove the need for paper application forms and result in producing your supplementary regulations document automatically. The next stage is to integrate this into the event entry app, saving even more time and effort. So a little bit more about the improved payment option. As this release has concentrated on the look and feel and streamlining existing processes, this is the only real new feature that we've released this version. An event organizer have had the option to force entrants to pay during the event entry process for a while now. However, some wily entrants have taken advantage of the feature that allows them to save their entry in an unpaid state, then just closing their browser. Now entrants are warned they must pay within 24 hours on their entry or will be rejected. Entrants and organizers receive several email notifications on an hour after the entry and 1 hour before the 24-hour deadline, and finally a notification when rejected. Remember, this is still just an option. This is not mandatory. So if you want to avoid this, just don't tick the box. Okay, before I go to the main event, I want to ensure everyone knows how to use the Hotlinks feature. We released this quite some time ago, but I still hear of some clubs sending instructions on how to navigate their website, member portal, event entry, and find their event, and then eventually get to the entry form. So wherever you see this icon, click it to copy the URL to your clipboard. That green notification will appear in the top corner, and then simply paste the URL or hotlink into an email, social media post. And as we've recently learned, you can also add a description to the team up calendar. So an official recently contacted me wanting to pass this information on to organizers so they could put more info so that officials can more easily volunteer for events. Simply paste the link into the team up calendar, and officials can then see the details and contact details of the event. Okay, so this is going to show you a demonstration of how easy it is to get the hotlink from the current event calendar. What you'll see is this is the live website. We've put an extra link here that goes to all the events that currently use the event entry system. You simply click this share icon at the side, the green notification appears, and then you can paste that into an email or any social media by clicking Control-V. This is another view for the calendar view, and you see the details, the event details. Click the button to see the entrant list. And what I'll show you now is that's the current version. This next screen is going to show you the new version that's going to be released very soon. So we go to upcoming events. This time we're going to see the list of events. You can see the calendar view. Remember, this is test data, so these don't make sense, these names. And on the left-hand side, you've got the event details and the entrant list on the right-hand side. And again, someone can just click event, enter the event button on the top right. Now I want to show you how entrants can add crew to their profile. This will make sense in a few slides. I just need to show you this for the context of the next demonstration. It's quite a simple process. Click My Details, go to My Crew, Add Crew, choose the crew type, and in this case, we're going to do a driver, choose a surname and the license number of the driver, and then click Import. It's that simple. That'll make sense when it comes to this next bit. Now I'm going to show you how, once you've pasted that hot link into an email, send it to a potential entrant. You can then, entrant can simply click the link. It will open up the entry details with the current entrant list. They click the enter event. If they're not already logged into the member portal, they just log in. If they are logged in, it would take them straight to the entry form, and then it goes straight to the entry form. So no navigation. Simply go through the entry form, clicking next, checking the disclaimer, closing that link, tick the box that you've read and accepted. Do the same for the mandatory supplementary regulations. Tick the box, choose your car, and then choose a driver, and then click next to go to the next screen. We don't need a garage this time. We don't need any more crew. Click next. No notes for the organizer, but we can add notes there if we need to, and then confirm and pay. And it's literally that simple for entrants. Don't use this credit card at home. This is a test one. So that took less than a minute. Now what I'm going to show you, that's the entrant there. And this is how an entrant would enter an event on behalf of somebody else. So again, we'll choose the same event. And this time Jen gets warned that she's already entered the event. She clicks next, but this time she's going to tick the boxes and choose her second car, because she's going to lend this car to Leo, a friend of hers. Leo needs a garage. He's very new at this. Click next. Jen's also lending him Mark, one of her trusty crew. And click next. There's no need for any notes to the organizer, but they could be put there. And then she's been kind enough to pay for Leo's entry. A notification there that Leo will then receive an email, which I'll show you in a bit on the next screen, where Leo will review the terms and conditions and the disclaimer and the supplementary regulations. This is the email that Leo receives. He simply clicks the first button to see the Motorsport Australia disclaimer. He then clicks the second link. Here we go, it's a little bit slow. There we go. So that's the disclaimer. He'll thoroughly review that and then open up the supplementary regulations from the same email. Once he's done that, he goes back to the email and clicks the final button, which is to notify the event organizer that he agrees with the terms and conditions. And he goes to a link there. I'll just zoom in there so you can see what that says. Okay, so now I want to show you how much quicker it is to create a new event. First, we're going to show you how you can create a basic event in just 7 steps. Then a more advanced event with optional steps. And you'll notice that there's been no change in functionality, just the look and feel. I wanted to ensure that the process was familiar. We're going to change one thing at a time. We're going to change the look of it, and then potentially down the line, we're going to improve on the process. So this is how to create a basic event. You start by clicking the Create Event button. You watch the timeline down the side. There's 7 steps. You give it a name. You could choose to go even quicker and clone an event from past by ticking that box above. You choose the type and you want to activate the event. You can put the location of the event, and then you put your entries open and entries close date. You got to make sure that these are obviously consecutive. And then you proceed to put the start and end date of this event. We're going to make this just a 2-day event. Okay, then we go to step 3, where we add contacts. You can add multiple contacts here by clicking the orange add button here. So this is how entrants would contact the event organizer or any other interested party. We can put a role there, and you can put, like I say, put multiple roles in this screen. Next, you would put your supplementary regulations link, and then if you wanted to add some more types of conditions, the one that we're going to choose is the scrutiny, and that's the one with an extra link. For this demo, we're going to invite everybody because we don't really want to open that can of worms with the multiple classes. We add an entry fee. Let's give the early birds a discount. So if they get there in the next couple of days, they'll get it $20 cheaper. And we put a expiry date on that. And then we give the club members a $10 discount as well. And we can add a cross entry. A cross entry for this, where it's the same car, is if you've got 2 drivers using the same car at obviously different times. So we'll give them a $50 discount. Choose the payment method. Credit card is always the most popular. This will go straight into your bank. Put your bank details there. Again, don't use these bank details at home. You won't get very far. And then the final tick box at the end is the force entrant to pay now, which is what we discussed earlier. And then save that event. Done. That simple. That was done in what, 2 minutes? So now I'm going to show you, let's think if we've got a little bit of a more advanced event where we can add some optional fields. Very similar process. Give it a name, a type. This time we're going to tick the advanced, and we get an extra 5 steps that we can choose to use. Choose a location. Same again. We'll do the entries open on the 29th and they close a week later-ish. And the event starts the following weekend, just for a couple of days. This is one of the advanced features, so we can add some activities. First of all, we'll just give it a little header. And then we can list all the different activities. The most popular ones that are used for this are things like practice rounds, round 1, add another one. We can choose whether to make this a mandatory answer by ticking that box there. Click next. Enter the contact details as usual. I should also say, don't try emailing that. It won't get you very far. This is all test data. And then on step 5, we continue with the supplementary regulations and add the scrutiny compliance statement again. Invited classes. This time we're going to add some garaging. So this event is going to have some pit lane garages, and we're going to track the number of pit lanes garages we have, so we don't oversubscribe. We're going to add some carports, and we'll add some of those. And then we're also going to make it a transponder is required. And if people don't have a transponder, we will offer one for rent. We'll put the fees in later on in this process. This is For extras, this is a popular choice to add I've seen barbecues there, I've also seen all sorts. We continue by putting the event fee, this time we're not giving a discount. I'm going to say it's $100 each for different rounds. There were the activities that we put earlier. This is how much a pit lane garage is and a carport. And then, of course, how much we're going to charge for the transponder. This is usually just a pass on to whoever's supplying the transponders at the event. Same again, credit card, put your information in. I think we'll also use the new feature of forcing the entrant to pay now. And then the step 11 is where we can add additional pre-validation checks if we so to choose. We're not going to do it this time though, but it's as simple as ticking that box or clicking add and adding your own. And then you can also enable check-in, but we're not going to do that for this demonstration. Ooh, jump to slide there. So go back. So now I really wanted to show you a demo of the event management pages, but unfortunately they're still being tested. So I'm going to risk it and I'm going to show you the test environment. All those were videos. They do say never work with children or animals. They should also say never work with test software, but here goes. So this is the current version of the allocations, entry summary, and check-in page, all consolidated into one. So you don't have to flick between the different pages. As you can see here, you've got this drop down here for the entry status. This is the most impressive thing. This checks. You can see at a glance on the remaining tasks that need to be done. So as we can see, if I click on this one here, we can see that Don Jacob or Jacob Don has validations failed. And if we expand this, we can see why his competition license is not valid. Okay, so he needs to get that sorted out. This one here is one I did from earlier where they validated correctly and we proceeded to check them in. And then this blue here is the color of the wristband that the entrants get. And this is another example where this one is validated and not checked in yet. So let's see how good our developers are. If we do the check-in, I should have refreshed this. There we go. So that was a successful check-in, and the check-in clerk or the event organizer knows to give the blue wristbands to that person. We'll just have a look at one more. This is one that has not validated correctly because they've not paid. And as you can see, they've only paid $100 out of 120. What you'll also notice is on the same page as the validation, you can also do your allocations, which is your car number, your garage, and your transponder. You can only do that if you've accepted the entry. And here we can choose their number. So if we, in fact, I think it's this one, if we just delete that one, and we will get their numbers, what they had a preference. It's not quite working as expected. So they put a number in there, and you can update the transponder number as and when. Also update the garage. Here we go. So we can update the garage number. So that is a quick demo. Everything on one page. I'm sure that'll save an enormous amount of time and wrist ache, because you're not going to be swapping between different screens and expanding. So everything's managed from a single screen. It reduces the amount of clicks, and it introduces those icons that indicate easily at a glance the remaining tasks. Okay, so final couple of slides here. We are just going to talk about the feedback and support and where best to get support from. I do encourage everyone to check out the feedback site, which includes the roadmap, a way to request features and report bugs. Please join the conversations and contribute your ideas so that we can build the application that suits your needs. Because remember, this application is yours, it's the club's, and it will help increase participation in motorsport. In fact, let me give you a quick look at the roadmap so far. This is the feedback site, and you can get to this on the member portal. Just click feedback, go straight to the roadmap. You can see that the projects that we've got planned, things that are in progress, and the releases, the features that we've already released. Now, if you want to contribute a feature, if you think you've got a good idea, literally click the feature, member entry, event entry feature, or member portal feature here, and then it'll take you to a list of all the features that people have requested. Now, if you think you've got a good idea, let's say we think we've got a good idea about scrutiny, as you type in your request feature here, it will search the database for previous contributions. You can check whether or not that is the same idea that you were thinking of. If it is, join the conversation, contribute your ideas, vote the idea up. The higher this gets voted up, the higher priority we add it to our development roadmap. Same with bugs. If you spot a bug, report the bug here. Next is the online help center as well. If you are ever in need issues, you can click this web chat that's offline at the moment and talk to one of our help desk in member services, or you can click the link that goes straight to our knowledge base. Got several articles there. This is a very new thing and it's growing. So you can see all sectioned off how to use hot links. And finally, a word about testers. We had an idea to invite software testers in quite a few months ago. What I suggest is you check out the feedback site and contact us that way, and then we'll be able to give access to the test environment, and hopefully you can get a sneak peek of features that are about to be released at the same time as helping test our solution. Finally, a bit of a bonus here. There's a company called Connecting Up. I do encourage you, if you're a club that is a not-for-profit, to check out Connecting Up. I've got some links in the next slide. Connecting Up help not-for-profits with technology. So charitable organizations or clubs that have been registered with not-for-profit. There's lots of free software, free training, knockdown prices on hardware and software. You'll get Microsoft licensing for about 30% of the retail price. Huge help for any organization low on funds. They're the links. To the top one is the feedback site, but you can click the feedback in the member portal, the knowledge base, and the Connecting Up link. So thank you for your time.